Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 351 based on novel. So let's start. The pink beam is like a punishment from the gods, and it contains vast evil power. Wherever it goes, no grass grows, and even countless space vortices appear slightly. Fortunately, it's fine. Looking at the sudden appearance of the sinner, he used great means to take away the demon of light safely, and even the pink light beam completely blasted into the air, turning into gorgeous fireworks and exploding in the sky. The evil Xiao Yan and Haisha. Both the dragon and the wolf let out a heavy sigh of relief. As long as the demon of light is all right, then the two of them will naturally be at ease, and if this matter is known to the demon emperor in the future, and Xiao Yang helps protect the demon of light like this, the demon emperor's relationship with the Xiao family will become stronger. Master Xiao Yang, Master Hao Enaya, thank you very much. Looking at the two who were now close to exhaustion, Heishan Longlang said warmly. It's too early to say thank you. Evil Xiao Yang shook his head. Even though the dark cloak floated behind him, a wave of power continued to pour out, trying to increase Xiao Yang's power to half a cycle, but unfortunately he was unable to do so. The two 8-star fighting immortals are complete, and they can't cause any obstacles to the real reincarnation powerhouse. This bastard. Seeing that the 7th Sin Division actually rescued the demon of light right under his own nose, the corners of Lord Li's eyes twitched violently. I am disappointed in reincarnation, and the strength of the 7th Sin Division is too weak. I am afraid that I have not set foot in the 8-star fighting immortals. This kind of guy can be rescued by the demon of light in such a situation, and the violent aura in the main body of the soul is like a demon for a time. Usually slowly wake up, release, killing intent is awe-inspiring. Let's all stay, and turn them into my nourishment. After a while, the Lord of Soul Li stood on the top of the desert, looking down at these countless cracks, the broken area where the vortex of space continued to emerge, and smiled evilly. With a big wave of his hand, a black chi that shatters and destroys is like a king of ***** who controls life and death. Wherever he passes, the Holy Spirit of countless powers does not struggle at all, and is swallowed up by it in an instant and turned into dust. Is it over like this? I'm not reconciled. Xiao Yang, who was temporarily hidden in the sea of fighting chi, nodded slightly, and a burst of relief emerged. In the current situation, I am afraid that only by completely detonating the holy flame can we have the last chance to resolve it. Although that price is not something Xiao Yang can bear, but now, there is no choice. Let's go. At this moment, Hao Enaya finally no longer hesitated, her fingers surging rapidly, but the evil rune in her hand flashed, and the superpowers that were comparable to reincarnation also spread out. Senior sister. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yang's pupils became red and he lost his voice. This senior sister actually forcibly burned her own vitality, drawing out the full power of the soul-devouring talisman, trying to compete with the master of Li So. The queen is not allowed. No way. For a while, the many elites under the protective cover directly broke away from the protective cover and came behind Hao Enaya. Needless to say, there is only this way now. Hao Enaya did not stop changing the handprints in her hands, and every time she changed, her body became somewhat illusory, burning vitality, at the price of life and soul, and the supreme in exchange for enormous power. It's really righteous, but I won't give you this chance. Death to this seat. Seeing this, Lord Li Hun shook his palms, and for a while, Hao Enaya's body was empty, all collapsed, and even an unprecedented pressure pressed on his delicate body, causing him to be under great pressure. Increase. Senior sister. Xiao Yang forcibly held back the scarlet in his heart, seeing Hao Enaya's delicate body being suppressed and compressed, his heart was extremely angry. Senior. Xiao Yang roared. Yep. Ads by Pub Future. Do not forget. And me. A dull voice fell, and the evil Xiao Yang's body trembled immediately, and the dark cloak behind his back actually burned slowly. The power that was faintly revealed was the same as that of the Lord of Souls. Go. Defense cover. Seeing the two of them working so hard, the other powerhouses were also nervous, and they tried their best to display it, forming hundreds of extremely tyrannical defense covers around everyone. Burning vitality? Burning samsara? Ha ha ha. You have forgotten that there are ants under reincarnation. This battle will be completely over with your fall. The Lord of Li's soul was filled with a ***** aura, and immediately raised his palm slightly and patted it towards the void where Hao Enaya and the others were. The palm was gently raised and photographed. It seemed like a simple action, but a ***** palm print with a size of tens of thousands of meters was born. The palm print was filled with extremely terrifying blood and ghostly aura. Lightly touching the protective cover that everyone exerted with all their strength, the protective cover was instantly shattered. With just such a random blow, it turned out to destroy the protective cover that all the powerhouses had exerted with all their strength. The powerhouses present were extremely heavy, and the power of reincarnation was too tyrannical. A sense of awe, filled his heart. Their appearance can give up their lives, why can't they? For a time, everyone's hearts were relieved, their bodies were surging, and the dazzling power was surging. Blow up. So many powerhouses blew themselves up, such scenes are appalling. Crack. With a random finger at Zaidu, Haoenia and the evil Xiao Yang's bodies were suddenly knocked back hundreds of meters by a strange force, and even their actions of burning life and burning reincarnation, it was also completely cut off by the attack of the Lord of Li Soul. It's over. Zaidu smiled lightly, and immediately the sea of blood rolled around Lord Li's body, like a supreme demon, smiling. In an instant, the wind was surging, and under Li Huanji's initiative to use the real power of reincarnation, so many strong people were actually so vulnerable. Little junior brother, promise me that you will protect the Soul Eater realm and the teacher's hard work. Haoenia seemed to have expected this scene long ago, and Haoenia smiled lightly. Not good. The evil Xiao Yang had just recovered, but found that Haoenia's delicate body was being lifted into the sky, and the Soul Eater talisman was about to be crushed by him. No way. Xiao Yang's pupils burst red, and he roared away, trying to stop him, but he was stopped by a strange space force. Crush the Soul Eater talisman? Upon seeing this, Lord Li Soul, a chilling aura pervaded the air. Soul Eater talisman and holy flame will not be spared by the master of Li Soul. Immediately, he raised his finger and lightly touched Haoenia's place, and suddenly countless voids collapsed suddenly, and an evil light that penetrated the sky and the earth burst out. Two little guys, hard work. Next. Leave it to me. And just when everyone's nose was sore, they were all trying to blow themselves up and die together with the Lord of Li Soul, a gentle voice that was enough to make the world quiet, slowly echoed in the entire sky. Old teacher. Hearing this gentle voice, Haoenia was like a lost flower and a willow. The soul-devouring talisman fell off and flew towards the mysterious figure, and her delicate body was like a piece of fluff, slowly from the sky fall off. Xiao Yang was in control of his body and directly caught Haoenia, but found that her body was extremely cold, and in exchange for such tyrannical power, what Yang endured was probably a torture that was different from ordinary people. At this moment, a powerful aura that dominates the world, like a sleeping giant dragon, slowly emerged, and for a while, a black-shirted man gently appeared in front of Xiao Yang and the two. Beneath this weak and thin shadow, there is the supreme power between heaven and earth, like a master, like a king. In order to obliterate Haoenia's evil light, the Lord of Li Soul collapsed suddenly when he touched the whole body of the black-shirted man, and was swallowed by him in an instant. Eater. Master of Soul Eater. Looking at the man who suddenly appeared, Master Li Soul couldn't help beating violently and lost his voice. The man was wearing a black shirt. Under the black shirt was a rather robust body. His long black hair was flowing down. During this period, he actually contained a divine power that seemed to devour all things. Inside his ordinary body, it was as if there was another person. Fantiandi. Lord of Li Soul, an old opponent. A black energy emerged from the man in black shirt, poured into Haoenia's body, repaired the injured meridian, and immediately looked at Xiao Yang and spoke softly. But the many powerhouses behind them understand that under this plain voice, what kind of monstrous killing intent and supreme power is contained. The Lord of Soul Eater is also a powerhouse who has broken through the cycle of reincarnation. To reincarnation. The relationship between Haoenia and the Lord of Soul Eater is as close as a father and daughter. Now Haoenia is so tragic that he almost crushed the Soul Eater talisman to resist the Lord of Soul. Crushing the Soul Eater talisman can give Haoenia the power to temporarily fight against the Master of Li Soul, but Haoenia will be completely swallowed by the Soul Eater talisman, even if the Master of Soul Eater has nothing to do. For a time, looking at their beloved disciples, Haoenia and Xiao Yang's weakness, the killing intent in the heart of the Soul Eater was unstoppable, and the endless black aura spread out like a tide. This black chi is completely different from that of the Lord of Li Soul. The black chi of the Lord of Li Soul is as evil as blood, but the black chi of the Lord of Soul Eater contains an imperceptible devouring power. Teacher, senior sister, she. Xiao Yang was in control of his body. Xiao Sensheng was also quietly lurking in Xiao Yang's body to preserve his strength. The Lord of Soul Eater appeared, and he no longer needed to take action here. Although she has a special physique, it's not a big problem now. Next, leave it to me. The Soul Eater's talisman was shaking, screaming, cheering, and welcoming the return of the Soul Eater. The Lord of Soul Eater is the black pupil watching the Lord of Li Soul, like an angry dragon, attracting attention. Teacher, be careful, he has successfully advanced to samsara, and he has also swallowed acacia broken enteric inflammation. Although Xiao Yang knew that the power of the Soul Eater was not what it used to be, he still did not forget to remind him. Reincarnation? Injuring my beloved disciple and destroying my subordinates, even if your body is reincarnated, I will beat you to complete destruction. Even if you are immortal and immortal, I will definitely blow your soul away. For a time, the Soul Eater Lord flashed the Soul Eater talisman all over his body, and then his figure escaped from Xiao Yang's crowd, stepped into the air, and stared at Li Hun. Lord, the tone is extremely arrogant. You actually broke through reincarnation? Seeing the insipid fluctuations on the Soul Eater Lord in front of him, the Li Soul Lord suddenly lost his voice. That is the fluctuation of reincarnation, and even the Lord of Li Soul feels that the power of reincarnation in the Lord of Soul Eater is more tyrannical than himself. After a while, Lord Li's body shook violently, and a strange look filled his face. Yeah, reincarnation is really a wonderful realm. Seeing the Lord of Li Soul trembling so much, the Lord of Soul Eater slowly hugged his arms and opened his mouth, looking like the most ordinary people. Humph. Even if you break through the cycle of reincarnation, today is the place where you fell. Looking at the attitude of the Soul Eater Lord in front of him, the Soul Eater said coldly. Only when they reach their realm can they rely on some weak traces, aware of what destructive power is hidden under the thin body. It's a good strategy, but unfortunately you still miscalculated. Today, I will use your fall to pay homage to the loss you caused to our Soul Eater domain, although this is less than 1/10,000, the Soul Eater Lord said softly. Then see if you have the ability. If you fail, the people behind you, including Soul Eater, will be dead. The Lord of Li Soul laughed loudly in the sky, his dazzling killing intent was undoubtedly on display. No, you don't have a chance. Listening to the sarcasm of the Lord of Souls, the Lord of Soul Eater still had a smile on his face, as if this world was in his hands. Wanhuan Bridge Lock. A cold snort penetrated the sky and resounded throughout the shattered sky. As soon as the voice fell, countless black and red gases burst out from his body, and instantly turned into a blood cloud in this sky. Between the blood clouds, a scarlet chain exudes an endless sinister and evil aura. That kind of power makes the body tremble, and even the soul suddenly shrinks. You step back. Seeing this, the Master of Soul Eater waved his palm, and a black shackle burst out from the Soul Eater talisman in front of him, protecting everyone. This power doesn't seem to be comparable to the one who is just entering samsara, the Soul Eater. While Xiao Yang's group had just been protected and quickly retreated to the rear, Xiao Sensheng in Xiao Yang's body muttered. The blood cloud rolled, and every time it rolled, there would be a strong asterisk smell, and even a heart-piercing roar, and roar continued to permeate from the blood cloud. The normal means to enter, but the special means, so there is an essential gap with the powerhouse who really entered the reincarnation. At the same time, on the blood-colored chains, countless strange patterns appeared quietly, showing endless evil. Today is the day you and I enter the reincarnation. Let me sacrifice my life to my reincarnation. Master of Soul Eater, will die for this seat. As soon as the voice fell, Master Li Soul's blood-red pupils were eerie, projecting the evil chain in the blood cloud under his feet towards the Lord of Soul Eater. The blood-colored chain is suffocating to the sky, as if a demonic barrier has descended. Shocking, that aura is enough to make the world pay. Follow me to the end. Seeing such a terrifying means, the Soul Eater Lord's smile instantly solidified, and the Soul Eater talisman all over his body stopped rotating, then slowly shook, and finally turned into a stream of light that poured into his body, and suddenly, on the forehead of the Lord of Soul Eater, the Soul Eater talisman appeared, as if it was deeply branded on it. Soul Eater talisman, 10,000 patterns. The Lord of Soul Eater had already entered the cycle of reincarnation. At this time, the power of the Soul Eater talisman was added. For a time, his strength was infinitely amplified. The voice fell, the Lord of Soul Eater stepped out one step, and the entire void suddenly became completely quiet. The blood cloud that Lord of Soul Li stood on instead shook violently, as if it would be completely broken at any time, and the whole body of the Lord of Soul Eater was full of ancient lines. The incantation, like a god, manifests supreme divine power. Is this the battle between the reincarnation powerhouses? Looking at the sky, only the Master of Li Soul and the Master of Soul Eater, the hearts of many powerhouses in the back were all tense, and what the two showed the wave of power that came out made them all crawl quietly, and a strong depression filled their hearts. Teacher. I want to win. Hao Nia, who sat cross-legged and rested, spoke slowly and stubbornly. At this moment, in the desert hinterland, the void was completely destroyed, collapsed, and the void kept shaking, and finally turned into pieces and fell to the desert ground. Obviously, the space in the desert hinterland could not support the reincarnation of the power of the strong. For a time, the situation changed. Boom. The entire desert hinterland turned discolored, and the strong fluctuations generated by the two reincarnation powerhouses, Lord of Soul and Lord of Soul Eater, completely shattered the entire space. Break this seat. Seeing the blood-colored chains with an unstoppable evil aura slaughtered at him, the Soul Eater stomped heavily on the void, and then countless spells on his body emerged, directly against him. Roaring away. These incantations seem weak, only the size of a thumb, but without exception, they all fell out of the Soul Eater talisman, and the power contained in them is enough to shake the world. With a sound, the seemingly indestructible blood-colored chains were directly smashed by seemingly insignificant black incantations, turned into traces of black light, and dissipated between heaven and earth. It seems that your so-called reincarnation is not complete. Seeing that a random blow from the black incantation completely wiped out the attack of the Lord of Soul Li, the Lord of Soul Eater's mouth slowly surged, and he said softly, "Master of Soul Eater, don't be too happy too soon." Listening to Master Soul Eater's contemptuous words, Master Li Soul couldn't help clenching his teeth, roaring, and the blood clouds rolled around under his feet, as if there was something terrifying something is about to be born. Through the simple battle just now, the Master of Li Soul knew that the current Master of Soul Eater is also a real reincarnation realm. Although he has not stepped into the first-level reincarnation realm, there is still a big gap between his own reincarnation and the latter's reincarnation. After all, the Lord of Li Soul casts the road of reincarnation through holy flames and the blood of countless strong men. On the other hand, the Lord of Soul Eater steps into reincarnation step by step. There are naturally many gaps between the two. This disparity, in the battle, the fang is vivid and vivid. It seems that I can only use that thing. Otherwise, the Soul Eater Lord under the reincarnation is now adding the increase of the Soul Eater talisman. I am afraid that today, there will be a lot of misfortune come out. Use any other means, otherwise. The Lord of Soul Eater stared at the Lord of Li Soul with a smile, and the Soul Eater talisman that had already been branded on his forehead continued to spread out black lines. The power of devouring slowly burst out. Master of Soul Eater, you forced me, I didn't want to use this thing. Seeing the confidence in the corner of Master Soul Eater's mouth, Master Li roared viciously. Come out to this seat. Without any hesitation, Lord Li Soul suddenly took out a rather exquisite scroll from under his sleeve. The scroll as a whole showed a strange black color, and just after it appeared, this space was filled with a strong sense of unease. The scroll is like a circular slip, with countless tiny lines engraved all over its body, which can be vaguely distinguished. Those lines turned out to form an extremely ferocious ghost, and the ghost is monstrous and vicious, as if guarding the scroll. Something inside. This is. At this moment, the Lord of Soul Eater flashed a dim light all over his body, and said vigilantly, "The Soul Eater talisman is one of the 12 evil soldiers in the ghost world. Its power is naturally close to that of the gods in the human world, but it is only because of the power of both the current Soul Eater Lord, the strange scroll in the hands of the Li Soul Lord. When it appeared, my heart trembled involuntarily. Come out, Soul Killer." Looking at the doubts on the face of the Lord of Soul Eater, the Lord of Li Soul laughed frantically, and as the voice fell, on the black gloomy scroll, an illusory ghost thousands of feet tall, was directly torn down from the scroll by the Lord of Soul Li, and suddenly with an evil and monstrous magic power, tried to attack the Lord of Soul Li. The Master of Soul Li's hand was quick, and he grabbed the scroll abruptly. For a time, a delicate knife that touched an inch or so slowly floated in front of him, but with the appearance of the knife, the hideous ghost disappeared in an instant. In the whole sky, there is an extremely dignified depression. This small knife is definitely not ordinary. This is. Hao below opened her beautiful eyes and stared at the black knife tightly. A sense of fear arose spontaneously. Senior sister, is this? Xiao Yan also felt the gloomy aura on the black knife that could destroy everything, and immediately asked. Soul Destroyer Sword, the 9th of the 12 evil soldiers in the ghost world. This knife was forged by a certain reincarnation powerhouse in the ghost world in his life, and it is known as killing all undead ghosts and ghosts. Once it is touched by its attack, only the soul will fly away, even if it is a strong person at the reincarnation level. Hao raised her eyebrows, clenched her cold palm tightly, and said nervously, "The Lord of Soul Eater has the blessing of the Soul Eater talisman, and can basically achieve an immortal body, but even so, once he is cut by the soul destruction blade, I am afraid that it is stronger than the Lord of Soul Eater, and it will be seriously injured or even fall in an instant. Soul Destroyer. It's hidden deep enough. Looking at the exquisite knife exuding supreme power in front of him, the Soul Eater still smiled slightly. Soul Eater, it's over. From now on, the ghost world will be my era. Let me inherit everything for you. Ha ha ha. Behead this seat. The roar like a madman resounded throughout the world. Soul Destroyer is indeed tyrannical, indeed a lot more tyrannical than my Soul Eater talisman. But with this, it's not enough. Seeing the Master of Soul Eater, who was holding the winning ticket, the Master Soul Eater smiled. Soul Devouring Talisman, swallow the divine realm. Without any extra action, countless black incantations directly and completely wrapped the entire void, and the power of devouring immediately filled the entire desert. The domain of the Lord of Soul Eater is based on the Soul Eater talisman. It used to be swallowing the sky and devouring the earth. In the Black Realm, the terrifying suction force that is enough to devour all things continues to emerge, but this force is completely different from the power displayed by the Soul Killer. After performing such a terrifying blow, after a while, the Lord of Soul Eater still did not stop. He knew that alone might not be enough to defeat the Lord of Li Soul. At that time, he would also have something in his body. The most yin and evil things are born slowly. Soul-killing knife, slaying ghosts and gods. Without any hesitation, the Master of Li Soul held a black knife in his hand, and a mouthful of blood gushed out on it. Suddenly, the black knife was like a demon, and a dazzling black light erupted. With the blade, it moved towards Soul Eater. The Lord roared away. Teacher. Master. Seeing the Lord of Souls in such a world-destroying posture, the Lord of Soul Eater, who was as quiet as a stubborn stone in the swallowing heaven realm, many of Soul Eater's henchmen below couldn't help but murmured. There was a hint of concern in it. Although Tian Divine Realm is tyrannical, compared to a soul-destroying knife, it is still a little bit worse. And in the battle of the reincarnation-level powerhouse, such a small gap is enough to determine the real victory or defeat. It seems that this battle is over. At the beginning of the battle in the sky, Xiao Sensheng in Xiao Yang's body laughed, because only the reincarnation powerhouse can perceive that the soul killer saber is indeed not powerful. The vulgarity is enough to completely obliterate the Lord of Soul Eater, but at this time, within the main body of the calm Soul Eater, an even more sinister force, like an ancient dragon, slowly awakened. Even that power, compared to the local power displayed by the Soul Destroyer sword, is only stronger or weaker. For a time, the entire shattered desert hinterland trembled, as if it would explode at any time, and the battle between the two reincarnation powerhouses had also come to an end. Boom! The deafening voice resounded throughout the desert hinterland like the wrath of a god. As the two methods were exhausted, the entire desert hinterland was completely shrouded in the heaven-devouring divine realm of the Lord of Soul Eater. Countless black incantations permeated the divine realm, setting off the body of the Lord of Soul Eater like a real god, which could not be shaken. At the same time, around the Lord of Soul Eater, a blade all outlined by black incantations burst out with bursts of supreme might that devoured the sky and devoured the earth, quietly crawling beside her. Crash! On the other side, the body of the Master of the Soul turned into a stream of light, holding the evil soldier's soul-destroying sword, and in a world-destroying attitude, he stabbed the Master of the Soul Eater, and wherever he passed along the way, those black curses was actually completely obliterated by him, and even the domain space of swallowing the gods was blocked by him. Go! With a flick of the main song of Soul Eater, the black blade made up of the source power of Soul Eater also burst out with a supremely gloomy aura, and shot directly at the Lord of Soul. Master of Soul Eater, the grievances between us for many years, let's understand. Fall for me. With a loud shout, the blood of the Lord of Li Soul appeared all over his body, and all of them were poured into the soul-killing sword. At that time, the soul-killing sword seemed to be pulled, and the bright aura spewed out like a spring, and immediately in an instant, it turned into 1,000 jong blood-colored swordlight, and it vaguely carried a powerful aura that destroyed the whirl. Boom! The two attacked in an instant, and then an explosion resounded throughout the sky, spreading completely. Crash! The black and blood-colored energy, centered on the heaven-swallowing god territory, completely turned into ripples of destructive energy, blasting away at the desert hinterland, and even some hills above the desert hinterland. After touching it, it instantly disappears. Crack! With a sound, Tian Divine Realm was completely shattered, and the sky returned to its original color, but the messy sky at this time revealed a gloom, obviously already riddled with holes. Finally, it's over. Slowly holding the Xeon Evil Soldier's Soul Destroyer sword, The Lord of Li Soul stood quietly in the clouds, watching the heaven-devouring god territory completely shattered, and even the breath of the Soul Eater was sluggish. Whispered, "I have planned for such a long time, although I have paid a very painful price, but everything is worth it." Because he not only harvested many holy flames in Xiao Yang's body, but also the soul-devouring talisman of soul-devouring domain and one of the evil soldiers, such a rewarding battle made the master of Li Soul can't help laughing wildly. Not to mention the many holy flames in Xiao Yang's body, plus the Soul Eater talisman number 11 on the evil soldier ranking. This time, the master of Soul Li himself is the biggest winner. From now on, the master of Soul Li will completely take over the soul-devouring realm, and the master of Soul Li will control the two largest areas in the ghost world. With time, even the center of the ghost realm with the most powerful posture will completely bow down. At your own feet. Thinking of this, the Lord of Li Soul was shocked. Ding ding. Just as the Lord of Li Soul secretly rejoiced, a magical sound that penetrated the heavens and the earth slowly spread out. Jiu Long. With a tremor from the demonic sound, the Lord of Li Soul only felt that his body could not help but froze, and even his soul fell into a brief out of control. Lord Li Soul, it's too early to say win now. But as soon as the voice fell, the ripples of destruction dissipated, and a strong man holding a blood-colored bell slowly stood at the top of the sky. Master of Soul Eater, you're not dead. How is that possible? Seeing the Lord of Soul Eater standing unscathed in the clouds, a shock emerged from the eyes of Lord Li Soul. How tyrannical the Soul Destroyer is, and the Master of Li Soul, just in case, did not hesitate to spend his own blood to cast his soul blade. The powerful blow under such a heavy blow did not obliterate the Master of Soul Eater, or even unscathed. This made Lord Li Soul's heart involuntarily become vigilant. The Lord of Soul Li stared at the past, only to see that on the palm of the Lord of Soul Eater at this time, a small bell that had already turned red slowly emerged, and a red protective cover was all over his body, protecting the Lord of Soul Eater like a sky curtain. And even the Xeon attack of his own Soul Destroyer just dented the red cover without any damage. That's. After a brief moment of surprise, Lord Li Soul's expression was attracted by a blood-colored shackle around the Lord of Soul Eater. Above this blood-colored shackle, there is an extremely powerful and sinister power. Under this power, even the soul-destroying knife is slightly inferior. And this power, all of which emerged from the red bell. Another evil soldier? How is that possible? Seeing that the small bell actually made his heart tremble, the Lord of Li Soul said tremblingly, "There are a total of 12 evil soldiers in the ghost world, each of which contains unpredictable supreme power, and although the Soul Eater talisman is only ranked 11th, in the hands of the Soul Eater Lord, it is enough." It was on a par with the top 9 evil soldiers, and even so, there was still a big gap between him and the 7th-ranked Soul Killer, so Li Hun felt that he would definitely win this time. But at this time, the small red bell in the Lord of Soul Eater's hand is also an evil soldier, and judging from the red defensive cover and shackles that resist the attack of his own Soul Killer, the 7th-ranked Soul Killer is more powerful. This is the Blood River Bell. The Lord of Soul Eater waved casually, dispersing the defensive cover and red shackles around him, and looked at the Lord of Li Soul indifferently. The 6th-ranked Blood River Bell? How could it be possible? At this moment, Master Li's expression finally became unbearable. He knew that he was also a reincarnation. If the Lord of Soul Eater used the power of 2 evil soldiers at the same time, he would be the only one. Only after stepping into the first level of shock can he completely defeat him, otherwise his end will be self-destruction. Ended. You have done a lot of evil. Let's end these grievances with your fall today. After a while, on the hands of the Lord of Soul Eater, the red blood river bells and the black Soul Eater talismans emerged together. A terrifying power that can make everything pale. Don't think that if you have 2 evil soldiers, you can obliterate me. WAN Soul Technique, the blood soul of the sky. At this moment, Li Hun's heart finally filled with a trace of fear. If Soul Eater really let Soul Eater take the initiative to use the 2 evil soldiers, he would have only one way to perish. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, the Master of Li Soul suddenly laughed violently, and the soul-destroying knife in his hand burst out with dazzling blood. The Lord didn't hesitate too much. The soul-killing saber suddenly went towards his wrist, the wrist was cut by it, the blood flowed, and the scarlet blood was directly absorbed by the soul-killing saber. Hey! The soul-killing blade absorbed such a huge blood power, and suddenly an illusory evil shadow suddenly emerged from its blade, and immediately suspended above the head of the Master Li Soul, holding the soul-killing soul that exudes endless blood radiance. The knife, like a real ghost descending, is extremely gloomy. Die. Seeing Lord Li's actions, Lord Soul Eater suddenly folded his palms, and Xue Ling burst out with a crisp sound. Adding the black lines of Soul Eater talisman, in an instant, the entire sky was surrounded by countless ghosts. Soul creatures completely paved the way. At this moment, tens of thousands of spooky ghosts and soul holy spirits quietly crawl at the feet of the Lord of Soul Eater. It is on the body, engraved with the black incantation of the Soul Eater talisman, even on the bell of the Blood River Bell. Down, there is endless killing intent in the pupils. They humbly bow at the feet of the Soul Eater, like their most respected king. At this moment, the divine might is like fire, and the Lord of Soul Eater is the strongest ruler in this world. As for the Lord of Lee Soul, he is somewhat dispensable, like a supporting role. Blade of ghosts and gods, sword of soul destruction. Looking at the terrifying battle of the Lord of Soul Eater, the Lord of Lee Soul could clearly feel the rapid loss of energy between heaven and earth, and even had a very strong rejection of himself. Time roared directly. Following the opening of the Lord of Souls, the ghost-like complexion on the top of his head slowly appeared, and then he gently raised the soul-destroying knife covered with blood, and gently waved it towards the Lord of Soul Eater. At this moment, the Lord of Soul Lee had a grim face, his pupils were full of blood, and blood was still pouring into the ghosts and gods at his wrist. This attack by the Soul Lord, his 1,000-year plan, was destroyed in one fell swoop. Absorbing so much blood from the source, the ghost and phantom palm swelled up suddenly, and in a short period of time, it became 1,000 feet in size. The palm shook, the ghost and phantom directly separated from the master of the soul, and the soul annihilation knife in his hand pierced the sky. Under the horrified eyes of everyone, he blasted away at the Lord of Soul Eater. Such a sharp and terrifying attack, I am afraid that the reincarnation level powerhouse can only temporarily avoid its edge. Looking at the huge phantom that looks like a ghost and a god, and the energy and blood glow of the 1,000-jong soul-killing knife, the Lord of Soul Eater smiled casually, and the voice of the master fell, piercing the entire sky, the entire sky. This seat uses the Blood River Bell, the power of the soul-devouring talisman. Number 10,000 souls, drive 1,000 souls, together to slay the demons. The voice was like a Sanskrit sound, transmitted over every inch of the yellow sand in the desert hinterland, bringing with it countless terrifying powers. As the voice of the Soul Eater fell, the countless ghosts that were quietly crawling under his feet, on top of the illusory body, burst into red glows from both eyes, and the black incantations all over the body kept squirming. The body trembled, and it turned out to be shot directly at the ghosts and gods. The power of the countless ghosts and ghosts is the power of zoo healing. Zoo healing collected countless tyrannical ghosts and left them in a special way to form their most tyrannical attack. When, the terrifying power that is enough to devour all things, this mighty ghost world army is enough to tear apart any army or even obliterate the powerhouse of samsara. For a time, the sky was surging, and countless clouds retreated, as if they were afraid that the two would destroy the sky and destroy the earth and attack him. Hey! The Blood River Bell in the hands of the Lord of Soul Eater broke out with a very clear sound, but every time this sound sounded, the power of the entire ghost army would skyrocket. As for the black incantation emitted by every shake of the Soul Eater talisman, all injected into the army of ghosts. Rumbling. The terrifying confrontation storm came quietly at a certain moment. In the sky, a crazy aura spread completely, and the defensive cover of everyone below and the yellow sand above the desert instantly turned into nothingness, and a touch of depression appeared in everyone's heart. Destroying the sky and destroying the earth, even the precious treasure land in the desert hinterland, completely collapsed at this moment. The sky turned into countless fragments like a broken mirror, and for a while, above the desert below, it turned into countless abyss. For conspicuous. The two reincarnation-level powerhouses completely collapsed the space. After a few minutes, the explosion and fluctuations in the sky slowly dissipated, and countless ghosts were returning to the Lord of Soul Eater. Although they were scarred, but as long as he returns to the Blood Pond Bell, it will not be long before he will regain his peak. On the other hand, on the other side of the sky, there was a figure with a very sluggish breath and red blood all over his body. He looked slightly embarrassed. He climbed up from the blood cloud under his feet with difficulty, staring at the Lord of Soul Eater with resentment. The Lord of Soul Eater was swallowed alive. You lost. After a while, the Soul Eater said softly, Master of Soul Eater, although you defeated me today, you couldn't kill me. I will recover my strength in the future, and I will bring back all the shame today. Seeing the indifferent appearance of the Lord of Soul Eater, the Lord of Lee Soul laughed violently. Teacher, don't let him go. Master, this is the culprit who has caused countless killings to our soul-devouring domain. We can't let him go. Seeing victory in sight, eager voices fell one after another. It seems that there are some familiar fluctuations. Xiao Yang did not speak, but stared at the void that began to run. It seemed that there was already a familiar aura here, and he slowly submerged. Are you so confident? Do you think I dare not kill you? The Lord of Soul Eater ignored the smile of Lord Li's soul, and walked towards the cloud of blood that Lord Li's soul stood. On the palm of the hand, the Blood River Bell and the Soul Eater realm turned together, pushing the breath of the Soul Eater to the peak. On the other hand, the Li Soul Lord was like a dying person, with a sluggish breath and blood on the body. Power in battle. We are personally appointed by the adults in the center of the ghost world. If you kill me, I'm afraid. The Lord of Li's soul leaned on him and said with a smile. The center of the ghost world. Is the ghost world even the realm where the supreme being of the great thousand worlds exists? However, what kind of place is that? You, a dying person, are also worthy of mentioning it to me. Die. The center of the ghost world. This seat has not been placed in my eyes. Hearing that the Lord of Li Soul was still so threatening when he was about to die, Soul Eater raised his hands, and the two evil soldiers burst out with a death beam, facing Li Soul's the master blasted away. Looking at the appearance, it is astonishingly the last killer, trying to really obliterate the Lord of Li Soul. No. The Lord of Souls tried to struggle to move his body, and immediately swayed his severely damaged body, trying to avoid the devastating blow of the Lord of Soul Eater, but found that he was only doing useless work, and immediately his eyes were hideous, in his pupils revealing a sense of unwillingness. Looking at the Lord of Soul Eater, the light of death bursting out from the two evil soldiers shook slightly and shot towards the Lord of Li Soul. If it was hit, the Lord of Li Soul would be seriously injured. Only the bones are left, and even the soul will be completely obliterated by it. Sorry, you can't kill him. Just when the Lord of Li Soul had given up his struggle, his eyes were closed and he was quietly waiting for death. A lonely figure wearing a black cloak covering his face slowly collapsed from the ground. Stepping out of the void, the slender jade hand immediately grasped the death-like light, and the death-light, which was enough to destroy all things, was quietly destroyed, and it did not even bring any power. Feia, I don't feel sorry for you. At this moment, Lord Li Hun opened his pupils without a face, but he said helplessly, You don't need to look to know who is shooting now. He has been using Duo Chifei from the beginning to the end, using the power of reincarnation on her body, and even the power of the Thunder Lord, to seal the entire Li Soul realm, so that the outsiders cannot sense the scenes that are happening here. The relationship with Xiao Yang was deliberately designed by Lei Shan to imprison Du Chifei. In the end, it was only for his own path of reincarnation, for the holy flame of Xiao Yang, and for his own selfishness. He is ashamed of Du Chifei. He is not worthy to be the master of this domain, and he is not worthy to be Du Chifei's uncle. It's actually the power of reincarnation. The Soul Eater Lord had just mobilized the power of the two evil soldiers several times, and now the fighting chi in his body was already close to withering. At this time, a reincarnation-level powerhouse appeared in Du, and he slowly shook his head. If this reincarnation powerhouse insists on protecting the Lord of Li Soul today, I am afraid that the Lord of Li Soul will not fall today. After all, many of the Lord of Soul Eater's subordinates are in the Lord of Li Soul at this time. It is not very good for Li Soul domain and Soul Devouring domain. At this moment, the situation that had already been fixed has actually changed again, but the overall situation has been decided, and I don't know what the final result will be. This video will end here.